the Alabama Crimson Tide.
Off to the inside, intercepted Alabama, touchdown.
And everything college and high school sports. Now, let's join Andy, Brett, Randy, and Luke for this edition of Sports Blitz Live.
What's up, everybody, and welcome into Sports Blitz Live, presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air here on this Tuesday evening. And glad that you joined us coming in straight from Lake Martin Sports Roundup. And, again, glad to have everybody here with us tonight, Brett and Jim, with 2 hours coming at you with a lot to talk about. And, you know, right now we're in the middle of high school football season, actually toward the tail end. And we're going to talk a little bit about some of these regions and how they're shaping up, maybe the top 10 in every classification. Some good football teams, Jim, up and down the classifications. And, you know, you look at some of these teams that are kind of in uncharted waters, that are on the outside looking in, maybe trying to get into playoffs, one being Hoover. You know, it's one of those situations where, you know, Hoover had the longest streak for being ranked in the top 10, and now they're not in the top 10 anymore. I think it was 200 and something weeks or something. I can't remember exactly what it was, but still in 7A football, it's Thompson and Phoenix City, and it seems like everybody else is trying to fight up there to see who can knock those teams off. 6A, some really good football teams, all the way down to 1A. I mean, you've got you know, widely around our area here in 1A. It helps in 1A when you got a 6'4", 220-pound running back.
Good grief.
Yeah, Derrick Henry down there at Wadley. He's just a sophomore, too, so he's going to be around for a while. You know, Coosa Christian, boy, they loaded the points up this past weekend. They scored 94. There's some teams that have had to forfeit some games because of ineligibility, and Coosa Christian was one of those teams, and it looks like they're still going to make the playoffs. And I'm not sure if they weren't trying to prove a point, if they weren't a little mad. Something was going on Friday with that game. So we'll talk about that and kind of run down the top 10 from last week and see where everything sits at this moment. But as far as college, obviously Alabama and Auburn will be at the top of the list. We'll talk about that. Alabama squeaking one out at home against Arkansas, and Auburn getting blown out on the road in Baton Rouge by 30. So we'll discuss that. We'll talk about games from around the conference, around the country, with some really good football games this past weekend, namely Oregon-Washington. That was a top 10 matchup. That was a playoff-type game. It came down to the end. It was very exciting. Kind of some bonehead decisions by Dan Lanning ended up, in my opinion, costing them that game. But, Jim, we're going to try to cover all of it here in the next 2 hours, and it's good to see you, buddy. We don't get a chance to do much together. So, Andy out this week on a little hiatus, so everybody's stuck with me this week. So.
Well, you know, it's always good to get in, talk a little ball with you.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, it's I tell you, you know, you look at some of these high school teams, Jim, and again, coming down the stretch, I think, you know, just using Benjamin Russell here locally, you got 3 weeks left. You got some really big games. Got Briarwood, and then you got Helena, and then you got an out of region game with Valley.
Are they both on the road?
No, Helena's here.
Here, okay.
Yeah,
but
so
Helena's number one in the area, correct?
They are,
yeah.
And they're undefeated. So it'll take a big effort for the Wildcats at home. But you know, if you get past Briarwood, it'll really be for the region championship here. So that's what you're aiming for. You're trying to get to that point and you know, have an opportunity to to play for a region championship and put that number up on the wall down there at the Sportplex. And that's every goal still in front of them. I know they had a couple letdown games this year, but this is a very talented team. It's got a lot of, you know, high-profile talent on it.
No
A
doubt.
lot of offensive firepower. Defense is getting better, so I'm looking forward to seeing how this team plays out.
Oh, yeah, it's been pretty awesome. Sit at home and watch you guys on that NSF app, you know, and check it all out. You and Randy do a great job.
When the signal works, right?
Yeah, when it works, you know.
Technology, man.
It's and Luke and trying to think of his name.
David Jones.
They had a good show the other night. Kind of laughed too much, but they had a big time out there. But yeah, I enjoy watching them. I think that NSF app does a great job for any of you guys sitting at home that love watching your favorite team, and you got grandparents or anybody else that want to see it. You can, pay $10 and tune in, watch games all over the state.
Yeah, you can go back and forth to everybody that has an FHS, and most schools do now. And it's kind of changed some things, and I'm not sure how much it impacts attendance. I think it does impact attendance some, being able to watch that at home. And,
I mean, if I got it's like going to an Auburn Alabama game. I would love to be in the stadium at Auburn game, but if I've got the opportunity to sit at the house and eat my nachos, not deal with that Friday night crowd, I'm gonna sit there and watch.
And that's what happens. But again, I think having that opportunity. Still, there's no substitute. And again, I know I'm biased a little bit, but there's no substitute for being in the game.
No.
And I'll use an example. Iron Bowl 2013, the Kick Six game, and I know everybody has a story of how they experienced that game, but being in the stadium that night, I mean, you don't get that watching it through a TV.
Oh, absolutely not.
It's still exciting, but being there, watching it in person, so that's the things that you get when you go to a football game versus sitting at home and watching. Again, there's nothing wrong with either one of them.
Absolutely.
And but
no, I think I'm just coming from the perspective. I've been to so many hundreds of them on the field.
Right.
I'm kind of like, okay, I've been on the field at Auburn for a bunch of games, and I would still love to be on the field. The problem is that 4 hour sitting in line with your car trying to get out of there when you get done.
Yeah, best to just go back to your tailgate spot and kick back and chill for a little while. Let the traffic
favorite one of memory, and I can't remember the year of it, but it's when I think it was Curly Hallman was the coach against LSU when we intercepted all those passes.
94.
I was sitting in the upper deck, and we were losing so bad. Me and the people I was with started walking down the on-ramp.
You and everybody else.
And when we came around one time, they scored, and we stood there and go, man, that's awesome.
Right.
We walked down the ramp the next time, they scored again. And we were like, holy crap.
And then you started seeing people go back up. And so it was – I was in the upper deck too. I was on the west side, which is the oldest upper deck. And, I remember that just like it was yesterday. And, Pat Nix and Damian Craig.
Yep.
And hey, we didn't have any offense at all that day.
Nope.
And just looked bleak. And then all of a sudden, LSU in the fourth quarter decided to start throwing the ball all over the place and just threw it to us.
Yeah.
So, and that was, you'll never forget that.
No.
That's the thing. Again, a lot of people watch it on TV.
Absolutely.
But being in the stadium and experiencing that, and I can't tell you how many times I got up and started walking down the aisle, and they'd pick a pass off, and I'd go sit back down, and then we'd come back out on offense and go 3 and out and give it back to them. And I'm like, here we go. That was good. But get up and start walking and do it again. And it wasn't just interceptions, Jim. It was pick sixes.
Right.
It was taking them to the house.
Right.
And you needed all of those. And then I think the very last play of the game, Fred Smith picked it off.
That's right.
And ended the game. Or it was either Chris Shelling. One of the two.
Shelling was the one who ended it.
Yeah, Shelling ended it. And they were throwing it into the end zone.
Wasn't he 4?
He was 4. Yeah, Chris Shelling. So, well, we were loaded in the second. Brian Robinson, Ken Alvis.
Oh, yeah.
The list goes on and on.
Yeah, to back your point up, that is what's wonderful about being at the game. It's those things like that. We'll catch 'em. And same way for Benjamin Russell. It's wonderful to be there in the stadium and watch Malcolm return a kick for a touchdown. You don't ever forget it.
And it's like every weekend.
It's like, even on the app, you're watching a video game because he just runs around there and does the B move and spins around.
I'm wondering if somebody has a controller somewhere controlling Malcolm because of the moves he makes. And very talented young man. It's a pleasure to watch. I told Randy, before the season started, I said a lot of times when you got a good football team and you're in the moment, you don't stop and appreciate what you're watching, until you don't have them anymore.
Correct.
And, I go back to 2015 with Tyree Gray.
Gray, that's right.
And, I didn't stop long enough because we were so good, and it was win after win after win, and then all of a sudden you look up and you're in the semifinals, and you lose a heartbreaker on the road to Spanish Fort. And then you kind of reflect and you go, man, not going to see Tyree Gray anymore. I'm not going to see some of these other kids that we called. And as you know, you only get some special players like a Malcolm Simmons or Cedarian Morgan or Chris Foster.
Generational players.
That's right. Yeah. And you watch them. I made a vow before the season started to make sure I took every game in and appreciate it. And I have to this point. And because, a lot of those guys won't be here next year. A lot of them are seniors. Yep. Gabe Benton's a senior. Malcolm Simmons is a senior. Chris Foster's a senior. Yep. I just keep naming guys off. And, you don't realize it a lot of times till they're gone.
Oh, yeah.
So,
absolutely.
But Malcolm Simmons, I know most everybody that's watched our program and knows all about him. He's committed to Auburn, and, it is going to be a fun rest of the season. And I think at Auburn he's going to do some really, really big things for Hugh Freeze in that offense. So let's start here in this first segment. And before we go to break, I'll come back and we'll run down some high school polls in all the classifications. This is the time of year where, you're trying to punch your ticket to the playoffs. And the region championship's important, but the main goal, the first and foremost goal, is to get into the postseason.
That's right.
And most of these teams around here, Central Clay in 5A right now is all the way up to number 3. I tell you, the first time I think I can remember, now I've seen running clocks before in the second half, but I've never seen quarters get shortened to 8 minutes and a running clock. And that's what happened in the Clay Central Sylacauga game on Friday. And
well, that's what should have happened in that game you called out earlier that scored 94 points.
Yeah,
that should never happen. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, I don't know exactly. I probably need to figure that out. The rule on how do you get to – I think both coaches have to agree to that.
That's
so
correct.
Why did the other coach, if that was the case. Didn't agree to that?
Because somewhere, and I don't know the gentleman, but the head coach of Sylacauga had to realize that Clay's got us outmatched.
Yeah, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the Coosa Christian game.
Yeah.
Why, obviously, they didn't score 94 in the second half.
Right.
It was probably already pretty much out of hand. Why did that coach –
It was probably 50 or 60 at half.
Why do you not
agree to it?
If they did go to running quarters and they still scored that many, there is a problem.
Right.
So I don't know for a fact. If somebody knows if Coosa Christian went to a running clock in the second half and still scored 94 points, please let us know. That would be – because I don't know for sure that it didn't.
Right. Well, yeah.
And I don't know what the score was at half. So if somebody out there knows, send us a comment. Let us know what happened in that football game. But we'll come back. We'll run down the polls from last week. I don't think the AHSAA poll is out for this week. There will be some changing, but for the most part, I think it'll probably stay pretty much the same. We come back. We'll run that down a lot more. Stay tuned. More Sports Blitz Live right after this.
Sportz Auto Sales, Highway 280 in Kellyton, Alabama, is home-owned and home-operated. If you're looking for tires, they have it. If you're looking for a vehicle, they have them. Great selection. Always out looking for more just for you, the customer. And if you're looking for service, whether you buy the vehicle from them or whether you buy the vehicle somewhere else, they do service work and got a great crew there. Keep this in mind. Why don't you go by Sportz Auto Sales on Highway 280 in Kellyton today.
What's the verdict?
Can't fix your heat pump. Need a new one.
Uh-oh. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking Daikin.
Call on Kevin Kill in Sunshine Heating and Air at 256-825-4849, Central Alabama's premier Daikin dealer.
So what's he thinking?
Oh, he's thinking Daikin.
Daikin, one of the top selling in the world.
Now I'm thinking Daikin.
Daikin. Comfort for life.
Russell Do-It Center and building supply stores have the tools and materials to get the job done right, whether you're a professional contractor or just a weekend do-it-yourselfer. With everyday customer conveniences like a drive-through lumberyard, price match promise, and our Best Rewards program, each of our 9 locations offer top brands and building materials like lumber, hardware, tools, paint, lawn and garden, and much more. Visit today and see what Russell Do-It Center and Building Supply can help you build tomorrow.
Farmers and Merchants Bank of Dadeville is building a foundation of strength and trust in the entire Lake Martin community. With our modern branch in Dadeville and caring, attentive staff, we've established Farmers and Merchants Bank as a reliable friend to your banking needs. Whether it's just a savings or checking account or any commercial, auto, or real estate loan, Farmers has local decision-making to build a relationship with you and your needs. Farmers and Merchants Community Bank. Strength, service, community.
The coast is here. Wharf Casual Seafood is serving up all your favorites: shrimp and grits, po' boys, tacos, seafood platters, and so much more. Don't miss out on our famous loaded fried green tomatoes. Wharf Casual Seafood is located on Highway 280 next to Regions Bank.
Hello, I'm Karen Chanel, your State Farm agent in Alexander City, Alabama, and the greater Lake Martin area. I want to talk to you a little bit today about your discounts. How many of you are entitled to discounts that you may or may not be receiving? One of the easiest discounts on your homeowner's insurance is that of having a fire extinguisher. Coupled with a deadbolt lock and a smoke alarm, that gives you an automatic discount on your homeowner's policy.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area a team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with a service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Bice. Bice Motors.
Welcome back, everyone, to Sports Blitz Live, presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. As you see on the bottom of your screen, if you're watching this on TV or online, Sunshine Heating and Air, your place to go for all your heating and air needs. Kevin Kill and his staff do a tremendous job. I use them for everything. Been using them for everything as far as my heating and air. And
a night like tonight, 40 degrees.
Yeah,
I want some sunshine heat in my house.
There ain't no doubt. You want to be pumping some sunshine in. Kind of got a little bit of a fall this year so far.
Yeah.
It's not just overbearing hot up until time to just turn bone chilling cold. We've actually, you know, these 65 degree, 70 degree days.
Discussing Friday Night Lights. That's the perfect weather.
This is prime. This is prime football weather. I'm just glad to see some football weather actually for a change, and not just from one extreme to the other. Let's talk about, since we're talking about Friday Night Lights, I want to talk about some of these teams, and I'll run down the polls. Class 7A, Phoenix City right now leading the charge in 7A. I think it may be theirs for the taking. There is a surprise team I'll talk about here in just a minute. Thompson, number 2, Auburn 3, Mary Montgomery is 4. That's the team. Mary Montgomery in the Mobile region. They were very impressive this past Friday against Baker. Now, Baker's loaded. Baker's got a good football team. They're 7th in the state. And Mary Montgomery really took it to them. And, you know, Baker's got Bryce Kane and several other top players. But Mary Montgomery really is the first time, and we've been covering AHSAA for 18 years now with the network.
That's the first time I've heard that name.
Just haven't talked about Mary Montgomery. Knew they were a big school in South Alabama, but, man, they have got it going on right now and undefeated. And they're going to have something to say about the South. I think you could potentially see them in Phoenix City matching up if they can get past those first 2 rounds. Vestavia is 5, Enterprise 6, Baker 7, Hewitt-Trussville 8, Dothan 9, and Sparkman 10. Hewitt-Trussville with a big win over Vestavia Hills this past weekend. Vestavia was kind of inching their way up and making a push. And Hewitt-Trussville said, hold on just a minute. We're going to have something to say about it. That is just a brutal region in Birmingham, and the region in East Alabama is brutal. I mean, if you look at it, Phoenix City, Auburn, Enterprise, and Dothan, all in the top 10. And then you got Thompson, Vestavia Hills, Hewitt-Trussville out of that. So you got 7 of the top 10 out of those 2 regions. And then you got a Sparkman from North Alabama. It's the lone team from North Alabama. And then you have Mary Montgomery and Baker in there from the Mobile region. So that's your 10 teams in Class 7A.
Now to break it down to people so they understand, because I've even had this question the other day and I was trying to help them out. If we are a region team from the South, do they play all of their playoff games against Southern teams, and then when they end up in Tuscaloosa or Auburn, it's a North versus a South champion, right?
That is correct.
So they would never, if you started off in Dothan playing your ball games, you're going to play, Benjamin Russell may have to travel to a Spanish Fort to play.
There's no doubt. Yeah. You're the South bracket stays in the South, and the North, you're either in one side or the other, obviously.
Okay.
And it's basically a North versus a South.
Now break it a little bit further for somebody that asked the question. Right here at home, your Benjamin Russell team is sitting, I think, tied for second right now in the area. So if you were to look at it on both sides, if they lost both games going out in the area, that puts them at 4th place. Does that still get them in?
Oh, yeah, you're in the playoffs. Yeah.
So they're already in.
Benjamin Russell has secured a playoff.
They're fighting off whether they're going for number 1, 2, 3, or 4.
Correct.
So if they end up at a 4, you could see them at a Spanish Fort or somewhere.
No doubt, yeah. And we actually match up with the Montgomery region in round 1.
Okay.
So you're looking at
Robert E. Lee?
Well, they're 7A.
Oh, 7.
So
okay.
you're looking at Carver probably, the number 1 seed.
Oh my goodness.
So
you don't want that.
No, well, I'll say this: I'd rather be matched up with the Montgomery region than the Mobile region.
Right.
Carver's good, but you don't want to have to make that track to Saraland. That's who you'd have to play first if you were matched up. And Saraland and Clay Chalkville right now in 6A football really are head and shoulders above everybody else. I mean, Jalen Mbakwe for Clay Chalkville single-handedly. Now, again, when I say single-handedly, he scored 5 touchdowns against Thompson.
Right.
And they beat Thompson. But Jalen Mbakwe made a lot of those plays on his own.
Okay.
So,
and I watched it the other night. Malcolm Simmons right here at home made a lot of plays by himself.
Had 3 touchdowns in the first half.
Yeah.
So those special types of players,
game changer,
can't touch the ball enough.
That's right.
So Drew Gilmer, good friend of mine, is the head coach at Clay Chalkville.
Mm-hmm.
He moved Jalen Mbakwe to quarterback this year. You know why? Because every time they snap it, he wants it in his hands.
That's right.
And he can throw it enough to make people scared. But for the most part, he's going to turn around and hand it off, or he's going to run some type of read option play. And they've got to respect his running ability, they've got to stack the box. That's why when he does make some throws, it's a little bit easier because, it's usually man or it's a simple route where they're not putting him in a position to where he's going to probably turn the football over. But, man, you want him touching the ball as many times a night as possible.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's no doubt that you want to have your playmakers, like we're going to talk about a little bit in college football. It's what you saw the other night with LSU. I want Jaden Daniels hand on the ball every play.
Yeah, and he can throw it and run it. In 6A, talking about 6A, there's Saraland there at number 1, Clay Chalkville 2, Hillcrest Tuscaloosa 3, Muscle Shoals is 4, Mountain Brook is 5, Parker 6, Helena 7, Hartsville is at 8, Oxford 9, and Theodore 10. Did you see Oxford's facilities?
Oh, my geez. Yeah, I saw the pictures on social media.
Yeah.
That was unbelievable.
Our good friend Bo Starkey and his group.
Isn't it? There's still a couple of our former coaches over there. Marte's
there.
Yeah.
Marte Wyckoff's there. And, but Bo Starkey and his group with Average Joe's went over and did a facilities tour. And, man, that place, somebody sent me a text. He said, when I saw you post that, I had to double check. He said, I thought you had gone to Oregon. I thought you had made a trip to Oregon and toured their facility, and it is astonishing. And I won't go on my soapbox here, but I will say this, and I made it in my post. You can like it or dislike it or whatever, but there's an arms race even at the high school level in high school, and you either have you either show commitment to your kids in your community, or you don't.
Right.
And the communities that are showing commitment are the ones that are gaining traction, excelling. I'm talking about the school, not just athletics. I'm talking about in the school. Well, academics, everything going into it. And I know there's a lot of people, Jim, here in our local area that were a little bit, probably upset with us building a new high school. And I'm like, man, if this isn't proof positive that showing an investment into your kids. And bricks and mortar don't make you, okay? Right. It's the people inside, and I said that at the groundbreaking. But it also goes hand in hand that you want to provide the best possible resources for your kids to learn and have at their fingertips to excel and be the best. And, there are communities around this state, and I'm glad to say that Alexander City is one of them, that is showing a commitment to young people and showing that it's important to have the best when it comes to equipment, facilities, technology, all of that stuff that goes into helping our kids be the best, whether it's performing arts, whether it's athletics, or whether it's academics. It doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm. No, and I mean, you know, just like I do, like we're sitting here talking about sports, like it or don't like it, those sports, being good in sports drives that school. Kids want to come because you got winners there. Just like when the Sportsplex was built years ago, it was the best in the state, and people came here to play on that field.
That's right. Yeah. And, you know, again, not to just drive this in the ground, but you can look, and Thompson and, you know, Piedmont and Winfield and Oxford and all of these great schools that are excelling academically and athletically show a commitment and a buy-in and a priority to their education.
No, there's no question.
And so you can, Auburn, you know, you look down the road, they're about to build another high school. You know, you can either be part of that group or you can be part of the group that's taking a slide back.
Well, and it's coming, you know, because we can see it in the NIL side of games. All these states are starting to pass things now where these kids can get paid in high school.
I mean, it's a runaway train, and you can choose to jump on the train or get run over.
That's right.
That's really what it is. So, or get left at the station. One of the two. So
you're right.
We're going to take a break. We come back, we'll run down the rest of the polls throughout the state of Alabama. Stay tuned. More Sports Blitz Live right after this.
Sign Source is your local vendor for commercial and residential sign manufacturing and installation. We offer all kinds of lighted and non-lighted signage, from retail signs, LED message centers, event banners, vehicle wraps, the whole spectrum. We also offer service and repair on existing signs, as well as retrofitting to LED or installation of outsourced signage. We have the knowledge necessary to fulfill all of your signage needs in the short or long term. Visit signsourcenow.com to get started.
Satterfield Outdoor Living is Lake Martin's trusted friend for your outdoor land and leisure needs. We're the region's authorized Skag mower dealer for residential and commercial lawns and offer all the small engine accessories you need. With top lines of Steel, Echo, Shindaiwa, Husqvarna, and Metabo products that can tame any landscape. Satterfield is also your grill headquarters with Big Green Egg Grill. And our pros service everything in-house and back up all sales. Get the Satterfield Outdoor difference on Highway 280 right across from Tallapoosa Ford.
You want the best opportunity to be successful in life. You deserve that opportunity. Well, you just happens to be in our motto. Central to you, central to your success. Your future is right now. Don't wait. Make your dreams a reality by enrolling at Central Alabama Community College. Register today at cacc.edu.
Alex City Internal Medicine and Nephrology and Weight Loss Center provides optimum care for the whole person. Dr. Dimo Popov specializes in the prevention and diagnosis of high blood pressure, kidney disease, diabetes, and acute and chronic conditions. Our weight loss clinic offers lipo shots and a guide to healthy weight loss. Alex City Internal Medicine and Nephrology and Weight Loss Center, where lifestyle changes are made.
Hillaby Towers is an affordable senior citizens community located in Alexander City on Highway 22 East. Spacious one-bedrooms are available now. Great location, peaceful setting, comfortable living where pets are allowed and utilities are included. Call today to find out more information on Alexander City's best-kept secret, 256-329-0552. That's Hillaby Towers in Alexander City.
Get a ghoulishly good deal all month long at Opelika Ford. Take advantage of spectacular discounts on their entire inventory of brand new Fords. Plus, rates as low as 1.9% APR for 60 months. Shop OpelikaFordChrysler.com. Get a ghoulishly good deal all month long at Opelika Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram. Get their biggest discounts of the year on new Rams, plus 2.9% APR financing for 72 months. Don't miss Ram Power Days at Opelika Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram.
Welcome back, everyone, to Sports Blitz Live, presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air, halfway through hour number one. Jim, running down the rest of these polls, I just went through, and I think I got about halfway through 6A.
Yeah.
So Hillcrest 3, Muscle Shoals 4, Mountain Brook 5, Parker 6, Helena 7, Hartselle 8, Oxford 9, Theodore 10.
So pretty good odds that since Benjamin Russell and Briarwood are tied right there for second in our area, they're probably right on the outside of that top 10 looking in.
They are. I don't think they got any votes in this last poll, but I think maybe this poll, both of those could be sitting right there. And I think if either one of those teams wins, whichever teams win.
You realistically say then in this area here alone, they've got 3 teams in the top 15 in the state.
Yeah, I would definitely think that. Yeah, I mean, you got Helena, Briarwood, Benjamin Russell, both on the outside, barely. So we knew it. Knew it was going to be a tough region. It's a well-coached region. Coach Grider talked about how maybe it from top to bottom has some of the better coaches in the state in 6A here coaching. And so you kind of see it. You kind of play out. Gulf Shores, number 1 team in 5A, Ramsey 2. That Ramsey team is 5-2, and they got 2 losses to 7A teams. They haven't had a close 5A game yet. Very, very good football team, Gulf Shores, sitting there at the top. We'll see how that plays out, but Central Clay right there at number 3. Again, outside of the Benjamin Russell game, which it was a 1-score game in the third quarter, they have not had a close football game. They haven't really been challenged since the Benjamin Russell game. So they're running through that schedule pretty easily. I would expect them to finish undefeated. Now, they will have a game on the road against Wetumpka. Wetumpka is a pretty good team, but I think Central Clay will handle them and win that game. So they'll be number 1 in their region. But here's a crazy scenario for you, Jim. The Mobile region right now, there's a lot going on, and Gulf Shores is number 1 right now. Viger is number 4. Viger is number 4 and ranked in the top 10. And the reason and Viger's number 10 down here, but they had to forfeit a couple of games, is the only reason they're sitting there at 4th in their region. And may end up finishing 4th in their region because – so that would mean if things stayed the same, Viger would have to travel to Clay Central round 1.
Oh, my gee. I wouldn't want no part of that.
So that's not really getting a 4 seed.
No.
You're getting a 1 or 2 seed.
Possible state champion.
Yeah, that has to come to your place. So there's your reward for finishing first in your region.
Undefeated.
And I can see why, take Clay Central out, put any team in that position. Hey, I can do that with Coosa Christian. And I think they match up with Wadley's region.
Yeah.
And if Coosa Christian finishes 4th because of forfeits, they'll have to go to Wadley in round 1. And Wadley's like, is that what we get? Is that the reward we get for finishing first? I mean, it's
so to everybody else out there understands, what are the forfeits about? Like why are
ineligibility? So
they played kids
that weren't eligible. So, and that's happening a lot. Unfortunately, we're seeing it all over the state, and I'm hearing there's a possibility there may be some more dominoes falling in places.
Wow.
We'll just have to wait and see. So, but talking about this 5A, Gulf Shores, Ramsey, Central Clay, then Pleasant Grove and Moody round out the top 5. Then you got Gunnersville, Southside, Gaston, Fairview, Leeds, and there's that Viger team sitting there at number 10, 4-2. But there's some good teams on the outside. Russellville at 6-1, Charles Henderson, Eufaula, Demopolis, Faith Christian, all sitting right outside the top 10 there. In Class 5A, some good football teams there. In Class 4A, Andalusia, number 1. They're the defending champs in that classification. They're 7-0. Cherokee County, 2. Catholic Montgomery, Jim, has the longest regular season winning streak in the state. I think it's 40-something games, and they don't have a state title.
Wow.
They seem to always run up against somebody in the playoffs, whether it be 3rd or 4th round or even the championship game like it was a few years ago against Fife.
Now, isn't Jimmy Perry's old school?
That is Trinity.
Oh, Trinity.
Yeah, he's at Trinity.
I got you.
And they're 3A. Or St. James. St. James. Well, if we name all of them, we'll eventually get them, all right? So St. James down there in Montgomery, and they won 3A last year, and they've got a chance again this year. But finishing out 4A, West Morgan is 5. There's Hanley at 6. Jacksonville 7, Corner 8, Bibb County 9, and Aniana sitting there at number 10.
Okay.
Now, Class 3A is private school heavy.
Right.
This seems to be where a lot of your better private schools have to play because of the multiplier.
Right.
And they're good. Mars Hill Bible's number 1, Mobile Christian's number 2, Madison Academy is number 3. Then you got Gordo at 4, but then you go St. James 5, like we just talked about. Thomasville 6, Sylvania, Geraldine 6, 7, and 8, Trinity 9, and then Houston Academy 10. So as you can see, it's heavily dominated by private schools in 3A.
Now, tell people that's not familiar with it, is there also not a rule that you can a private school can only win a championship so many times where they move them up a level?
They can, this called competitive balance.
Okay.
So if you win, I believe, 2 years in a row, then
so if they win, say Mars Bible wins 3A 2 years in a row, they got to go to 4.
They got to go to 4.
Now, what brings them back? Do they stay in 4 forever?
I think it's I don't know what the grace period is. Maybe only a year or maybe 2 years you have to go up and play.
Okay.
But maybe 2 years because you have to be in the reclass.
Okay.
So, and then at the next reclass, if you haven't excelled, then you come back
Gotcha.
to where your numbers are. Something to that point.
It's only, like you said, the competitive side of it, it's only fair to move those teams because you get people that stack teams in areas.
I'll tell you this, Jim, there in volleyball, there are some 1A and 2A teams playing 6A and 7A.
Good grief.
Because they've worked their way all the way up, and they're still winning.
Right.
It's 6A and 7A. That's how good their program is. Bayside Academy being one of those teams.
Right.
I mean, what do you do? I mean, it's not fair for Bayside to sit down there in 1A or 2A and play that competition. And it's not any shot at any of those other teams, but for their girls' sake, for them to have competition that they can be challenged, they have to move up.
Oh, yeah.
And they keep winning.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's hurting them.
You can't punish them forever.
No, you can't. So, I mean, there's only so many classes you can go up. Once you get to the top, you kind of run out of room. In Class 2A, this is a interesting classification. B.B. Comer is number 1. Usually Fife is at number 1, but Fife lost an early game to Geraldine. They fell. B.B. Comer was in that championship game last year against Fife. They're sitting in number 1. They have their sights set on getting back and trying to finish the deal this time. Highland Home is 2, Pisgah 3, and Fife 4. Highland Home and Reeltown play each other in 2 weeks.
Okay.
They're in the same region. Reeltown's 5, Highland Home's 2. Reeltown beat them by a point last year.
I bet you can't get a ticket to that game.
That's going to be a good one, man. It's going to be as good as high school game as you'll probably want to see. Sulligent 6, Cottonwood 7, Locust Fork is 8, Laverne 9, and Tanner is 10. So, I talked to Jeremy Phillips a few weeks ago, and he said, look, we have Laverne, we have Highland Home, and we have Reeltown in our region. 3 of their teams in their region are in the top 10.
Good grief.
In 2A football. It is just a brutal region, man. I mean, there's no other way to spin it. So just very, very good football. And I think Goshen is in their region, and they're sitting there at 12.
Ooh.
So
Jeremy's got an uphill battle.
It's a tough region, no doubt. Finally, in Class 1A, Leroy is 1, Elba 2, Sweetwater 3, Millry 4, Lochapoka 5, Lynn is 6, Wadley is number 7, Georgiana 8. There's that Coosa Christian team sitting there technically at 0-5 and still ranked in the top 10. Number 9, and South Lamar comes out at number 10. So, again, we'll see how it all plays out. Coosa Christian, very good football team. Somebody's going to get a raw draw with them, and possibly a raw draw with Viger too.
Right.
If things kind of stand.
If Clay Central got that draw, that'd be a tough first round.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, really.
You may not see a better team all the way to state championship game.
Probably not. So, there's some people arguing that if you get found of playing ineligible players, you should be automatically eliminated from the playoffs.
Well, and I guess you could look at that both ways. What about the rest of those kids on that team?
It's tough. I mean,
because some of them probably had no knowledge that kid.
Well, what about kids in college, Jim, that play on teams that had nothing to do with teams that got the program on probation?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's a tough pill to swallow, but I don't know what the right answer is there.
Right. Well, that's true.
Up against another break. Stay tuned. More Sports Blitz Live right after this.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area a team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with a service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Bice Motors.
Hey, honey, it's Mom. Just wanted to call and check in, see how everything's going. You'll probably say not to worry. Everything is great. But we miss you. I'll call you back later.
No. Everything's great. I love it here.
This is Joseph Dean with Alabama Funeral Homes. As many of you are aware, we had a fire that significantly damaged our facilities. We are in the process of getting those rebuilt. We apologize for any inconvenience this may have caused the families that we serve. I want you to know that we are capable of handling all of your needs at Frederick Dean Funeral Home of Opelika, which will be servicing Alabama Funeral Homes families. We can be reached at our same number, 256-896-4502, or by email at joseph@alabamafuneralhomes.com.
You've dreamed about the perfect house, a place to call your own, and a place to not only stretch out, but to grow. Auto Owners protects your house because to you, it's home. That's simple human sense. Happy to help, man. I was just over there talking to myself anyway.
Frontline Outfitters provides all your aftermarket parts for your cars, trucks, and as well as your professional tinting solutions for auto, residential, and commercial buildings. Frontline Outfitters also handles vinyl wraps, spray-in bed liners, truck accessories, LED lighting, paint correction and detailing, and much more. Make sure Frontline Outfitters of Alexander City is your first call for tinting and aftermarket solutions. Call us today, 256-409-8100.
Hillaby Towers is an affordable senior citizens community located in Alexander City on Highway 22 East. Spacious one-bedrooms are available now. Great location, peaceful setting, comfortable living where pets are allowed and utilities are included. Call today to find out more information on Alexander City's best-kept secret, 256-329-0552. That's Hillaby Towers in Alexander City.
Welcome back, everyone, to Sports Blitz Live. You can call us, 256-234-6221 to be part of the program. You can comment away there on Facebook Live. You can find us at Sports Blitz, it's sports with a Z. Pull us up, and a lot of you comment throughout the program. Alabama-Arkansas on Saturday, very interesting game. Alabama jumped up 24, was it 24-6? And it was, because they ended up going for two and cutting it to a 3-point game. But looked like Arkansas was going to get run out of Bryant-Denny Stadium. And then Jalen Milroe is Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I mean, he's either on in the first half and terrible in the second, or mediocre in the first half and great in the second. He looked like, picked up where he left off the week before, had a great first half, and then came out, and I believe he was 1 for 9 for 4 yards in the second half until that last drive, where he did make a few tough throws. Receivers made some catches to kind of end the game and seal the deal. But you look at it from an Alabama standpoint, they finally did get back over 100 yards rushing. They've been struggling to run the football, Jim, and you and I have been following this a long time, and it doesn't matter what type of team Alabama has transformed into, whether it be a Lane Kiffin, Steve Sarkisian pass-happy team. They've always been able to run the football. And Alabama always hangs its hat on being able to control the line of scrimmage and run the football. Very odd to see them struggle a lot this year running the football.
Well, they got a lot of young guys on that front line, but it's the biggest line they've ever had.
And I think some of them are too big.
Correct. They don't have that mobility, the bend in them they need, or getting beat at certain positions. I mean, their right tackle the other night got beat like he stole something. I mean, it just kept happening over and over, and they played two guys in the same spot. And it's, to me, that's what's a big matchup coming this week is Tennessee really showed their defensive line is how strong it is against A&M. They shut A&M's rushing down.
And, you know, I think Alabama will struggle to run the football again, so it will be on Jalen Milroe's back once again. He was only 10 of 21 for 238 yards. So he had 8 or 9 incompletions there in the second half. So it just tells you.
Right.
Looking at the stats, he ain't complete much.
No.
You know, and then most of it was in the first half.
Yeah,
I mean,
looks like he
was almost perfect in the first half.
He had to have. If he's only got 10 there, everything he was hitting was explosive plays.
Right.
I mean, because that's a 24-yard average.
And majority of them came in the first half.
Yeah.
So kind of got it shut down in the second. And, you know, I think that's the thing that's driving Nick Saban a little bonkers right now is their inconsistency. And, you know, again, I think Luke said it before, Jalen Milroe, you have to accept the good with the bad. He's the best option Alabama has.
Correct.
You know he's going to make some mistakes. You're just going to have to overcome them. And that's what he did Saturday, or actually 2 weeks ago at Texas A&M. He threw a bad interception, and Alabama's defense had to get it right back. And I think that's what they have to understand. Now, where Alabama is good is defensively.
Oh, yeah.
They really do a good job defensively. They're playing as good as anybody in the country, in my opinion, defensively. But their lack of execution on offense is keeping these games close. And Alabama's still got LSU, Tennessee. They got to go on the road at Auburn, even as bad as Auburn is. You know, they've still got, you know, some difficult games to navigate here.
Yeah, I mean, like I just said, the Tennessee game to me is a big hurdle to jump. If they can prove they can beat a second defensive line that is strong, is like they proved – A&M stopped them, and they were able to throw on them.
Right.
Tennessee's going to try to do the same thing as make Milrose beat them. If Milrose beats them, then it's proven to me they're going to win the West. They can get it done when they need to.
Yeah, I think it's going to come down to that LSU game. LSU's got a loss against Ole Miss.
Right.
So they really can't afford to lose another one.
No.
And they can lose another one. That again, LSU's defense is terrible. Now, you wouldn't have known it watching the Auburn game, but against everybody else, they've given up a ton of yards and a ton of points. I think that's going to be an interesting game, especially if Alabama loses to Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
So that gives I would have Alabama at a loss and have LSU at a loss in the conference playing each other. Even if Alabama wins against Tennessee and LSU holds serve, if LSU were to win that game, they'd have the tiebreaker over them because they'd have one loss apiece and LSU'd have the head-to-head.
Hey,
so
yeah, that's right.
There's still a lot on the table here.
Oh, yeah.
Coming down the stretch. Now, if LSU lays another egg somewhere along the way, then they're out of it.
Well, and that's what you got to see if that defensive problems they've got has rears its head again against the quality opponent, because Auburn didn't give them no challenge.
Could you see a Western Division champion with 2 losses? I mean, it's possible. I mean, think about it. If LSU were to lose another game and have 2 losses, if Alabama were to lose to Tennessee and then lose to LSU, you would be sitting there with 2 teams with 2 losses.
Right.
LSU would have the head-to-head, or vice versa. If Alabama were to lose 2 and, you know, be sitting there with a head-to-head win against LSU, so you could technically see a Western team this year with 2 losses win the division.
Jason, that's true. That is, yeah, absolutely.
Because to me, it takes A&M's out of it.
Right.
Auburn is way out of it. Arkansas's out of it.
Right.
Mississippi State's terrible. So, really, that's it.
Yeah, the only outlier you got there is Ole Miss.
Ole Miss.
They got a chance.
And they've got 1 loss in conference right now.
But then they got to play Georgia.
Yeah, and they've got to come to Auburn Saturday. And I know that Auburn's playing bad, but you know how it is in Jordan-Hare. Well, and Kiffin knows that too.
Yeah, it's always a tough environment, especially there for a night game. Because it's 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock, yeah.
So, I mean, I think anytime you roll the ball out there, there's.
Ole Miss has won 1 time in the last 23 years in Jordan-Hare Stadium.
I think I saw a statistic somewhere there that Lane had said something like 70 years. There was something that going on that hadn't happened in 70 years. Won back-to-back games against Auburn.
Yeah.
70 years.
It's hard, man.
It's
hard. I mean,
that's tough.
They go on to break a lot of streaks. If this is the best opportunity for them to do this, in a long time.
Oh, yeah.
With the team Auburn's got right now. So, up against another break. Stay tuned. More Sports Blitz Live right after this.
It's truck season at AHSAA Automotive. New Honda Ridgelines, $349 a month. Ford Rangers, $357 a month. Nissan Frontiers, $379 a month. And Chevrolet Silverados, $399 a month at AHSAA Automotive. Plus, you get a lifetime warranty, no charge, engine, powertrain, and more. It's truck season at AHSAA Honda, Tony Serra Ford, Serra Nissan, and Serra Chevrolet.
Whether it's Lake Martin, Lay Lake, or Logan Martin, boaters from all over the state of Alabama come to Alex City Marine, just off Highway 280 in Alexander City, Alabama, because it's worth the drive. With the best deals on unbeatable Suzuki outboards, Manitou and Landau Tritoons, and a great pre-owned inventory while they last. Alex City Marine is the pros the locals know. And no matter where you're from, when you're here, you're local to us. Alex City Marine, just off Highway 280 in Alexander City, Alabama. AlexCityMarine.com. You don't have to ask who, what, or why. Who's Diner is the go-to place for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Conveniently located at the corner of Highway 22 and 280 in Alex City. Who's Diner offers the best meals and the best deals in town. Try our fresh, made-from-scratch pancakes, chicken salad, Philly cheesesteak, or the Who Burger. It doesn't get any better than who? Who's Diner, of course, on the corner of Highway 22 and 280. Who's hungry? The same professionals you've trusted with your urgent care is now your primary health provider, Main Street Family Care. We provide annual physical exams as well as monitoring health conditions such as high blood pressure, diabetes, asthma, and more. All major insurances accepted, Medicaid, Medicare, and have self-pay options to accommodate everyone. See us at Alex City, just across from Walmart. Your care is our primary concern.
Main Street Family Urgent Care. Heal better, feel better fast.
Lewis Pest Control is now serving Alexander City and the entire Lake Martin area. They've been family owned and operated for over 60 years. Whether it's residential, commercial, or industrial, Lewis has environmentally safe products for all your pest control needs. Lewis Pest Control.
Lay your best to rest. Call the best. Lewis Pest Control.
Let Riverbank and Trust open doors for you. Whether you're purchasing land, a lot by the lake, or building or buying a home, begin with Tallapoosa County's loan experts. They'll guide you through the entire process, providing local decision-making, prompt responses, and the best real estate loan solutions for your unique needs. And in most cases, Riverbank and Trust can close your loan in 30 days or less, and they'll walk by your side every step of the way. It's all just part of the Riverbank and Trust difference. We invite you to experience it for yourself.
Welcome back, everyone, to Sports Blitz Live, final segment here in hour number one. You can call us 256-234-6221 if you'd like to be on the phone with us, or if you want to comment away, you can send us a comment there on Facebook Live. Again, closing out here against with Alabama, Arkansas, we may catch up with Luke Robinson there in hour number two, but if we're not, just wanted to talk some more about this Alabama team. They do have Tennessee coming up this Saturday. Jim, and that game will be at 2:30 on CBS. You know, Tennessee sitting there at 5-1, 2-1. This was a game that kind of made Tennessee's season last year. If you remember that game in Knoxville, some crazy stuff happened at the end of that game.
Oh, yeah. You toted the damn goalpost to them in the river.
No doubt. Yeah, Tennessee finally snapped the streak. You know, it was a big deal. And, you know, Josh Heupel's got this team kind of back in a position with a game against Georgia left to play, that they could do something here. Now, are they as good as they were last year? No. Is Alabama as good as they were last year? No. So I think both teams have kind of taken a little bit of a step back, not much. I mean, Alabama's still 4-0 in the conference, and Tennessee's 2-1. But at the end of the day, both teams lost some pretty good players, and they've taken a step a little bit of a step backwards. Obviously, Alabama nowhere near as good at the quarterback position, and I don't think even with Joe Milton there for Tennessee that Tennessee's as good as they were last year at quarterback. So Tennessee got to travel to Tuscaloosa. It's the third Saturday in October. It's a tradition. It's a rival game. Finally, Tennessee woke up and actually made it something again by winning a game in this series. Just your thoughts on this, Jim. Can Tennessee roll into Knoxville? Roll into Bryant-Denny and get a win?
You know, you're looking at in comparison, like you said, to last year's team versus this, you're looking at a different Tennessee team. This team is putting up a lot of rush yards.
Right.
They're running the ball versus where people saw them last year making these big plays. I don't think Milton is quite as consistent a passer as, and I can't think of the kid's name from last year. Who'd they have last year, Tennessee?
The kid just blew his knee out right there at the end. You throw me for a loop, too.
But anyway, he is not as
very good quarterback.
Yes, as athletic, as prolific as the guy before him. So they're relying on the run game. Can Alabama's defensive line shut that run game down and make him have to beat them? I think you could see a conflict of interest there on both sides where Tennessee is going to shut Alabama's run down and make Milroe beat them passing. So you could have a low-scoring passing affair there.
Hendon Hooker.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So
and everything I'm seeing so far is a 8.5, 9-point game in Alabama's favor. You know, that's what the line is on the game right now.
Yeah, and it's at home. And, you know, again, Tennessee offensively struggling, but they like to run the football. And if they can control the line of scrimmage, I think it's going to come down to Tennessee's defense versus Alabama's. I think that's where the game's going to be won. I think Alabama has the advantage over Tennessee's offense, but can Tennessee's defense have the advantage over Alabama's offense and make this a low-scoring, blue-collar, 12-round fight type game where it comes down in the fourth quarter?
Right. I just don't think, you know, if all being said, I don't think that happens. I think that it is at the third quarter, it's a close game, but by the fourth, you're looking at a 10-point game to Alabama's side.
So turnovers have
That's
have a big play in this thing. And
I think I read a statistic too. In Tennessee is top 10 in the country in sacks. So
they're going to have a chance to get back there and get on Jalen Milroe. Yep. So it'll be interesting. Alabama's had their struggles up front. I think Texas exposed that a little bit. And
A&M exposed it a lot, that you can shut Alabama's run game down.
Yeah, I mean, they have been shut down several times this year.
Yeah.
Tennessee, though, coming into this game, Alabama, they feel like they're making progress, but can they beat Alabama for a second straight year? And then can they finally get back over the hump against Georgia? And I think losing Brock Bowers, Tennessee can get over the hump now.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and Georgia's got to go to Tennessee.
Mm-hmm. So I think you see that opposite. I think you see where they lose to Bama, but they beat Georgia. Because I picked them before the year. I picked Tennessee to win the whole East.
But, you know, that still puts them on the outside looking in because, you know, Georgia with only one loss at that point.
If they have the tiebreaker on them because they beat them.
Yeah, they do. But, I mean, Georgia'd have to lose again.
Well, that's true. I forgot Tennessee's already lost one.
Yeah, they've already lost one. So, I mean.
Yeah, I don't see Georgia losing twice. I can't see.
They lost to Florida. I mean, that's a bad loss.
That was terrible.
Yeah, just not a good look at all. But, again, I mean, when you lose a game and you're having aspirations of being a contender, you have to play perfect from there on out. There are no more slip-ups.
Right.
Like Alabama, they can slip up.
Right.
They can lose to Tennessee and win out and still win the West.
Right.
Because they can beat LSU and have a tiebreaker.
Right.
Or they can beat LSU and LSU has another conference loss because they've already got one to Ole Miss.
Right.
So if you're Tennessee, you got to win both games and hope that Georgia maybe gets another loss somewhere. If you lose to Alabama, you got to have them lose again, even if you beat them head to head. So you get that loss, and people go, well, one loss doesn't kill you. It does when you're in a division that's that tight.
Now imagine if you're that same Georgia team sitting there with this Auburn bunch just beat you that should have beat you.
It's a whole different scenario.
That's right.
You know,
that's where every championship team has that one game during the season that somebody that shouldn't have played with them plays with them. And Tennessee let it happen to them. They let Florida get them.
That's it. And Georgia was able to escape and not let it happen to them. So, but good stuff there. It's going to be fun to watch. 2:30, Alabama, Tennessee. Last year it was a classic game. I know it wasn't for Alabama fans, but for Tennessee fans, it broke a very long streak, and it's the first loss for Nick Saban, against Tennessee since he's been there.
But my gosh, look at the man's statistics. I wish I could find it somewhere of somebody that beat him the previous year beating him again. I don't think you've heard of it.
No, it didn't happen. It doesn't happen very often.
Yeah.
So, if at all. So,
I don't think nobody's ever beat
do you know
him
he
twice.
beat Arkansas? It's 17 in a row.
Wow.
They've beaten Arkansas. Has not beaten Nick Saban since he's been in the league.
That's sad.
It's hard to believe that Nick Saban's been at Alabama 17 years.
Good grief. No, it is. And to be as good as he's been the whole time. You're talking about 11-win coach every year.
Average of 11 wins. It's unbelievable. So, up against the top of the hour break. Stay tuned. 1 hour coming up left in Sports Blitz Live when we come back.
Truckloads of fresh new inventory are rolling into Glenn Smith GMC in Opelika. The new full-size GMC Sierra 4x4 crew cabs discounted up to $12,000 off. The popular GMC Terrains up to $5,500 off. And GMC Acadias up to $6,000 off. Plus, no payments till 2024.
Get your best price every day at Glenn Smith GMC on the lot or online at glennsmith.com. Get ready to smile.
The Alabama Slammer. It's a popular drink at parties, but drink too many and you'll wind up in this Alabama Slammer. And if you drink and drive, get ready for a real Alabama Slammer. If you're involved in a crash where a driver's been drinking, you're 4 times more likely to die.
Drive safe, Alabama. A message from your Alabama Department of Transportation.
There's only one clear choice in the Lake Martin area for plumbing, heating, and air. That's All Clear Plumbing and Air. Our professionally trained technicians offer full service repair and installation on all major brands. From drips to water heaters, thermostats to entire air conditioning and heating systems, and everything in between. Our fast, reliable, and guaranteed top-notch customer service will keep you informed and up to speed through the entire process. Call us today or look for us on Facebook and Instagram at All Clear Plumbing and Air, 256-496-2056. License number 19172.
If you haven't been to Big B Barbecue in Alex City, then you're missing the best barbecue around. Big B has everything from the best pulled or chopped pork, chicken, and beef to cheeseburgers and grilled chicken salads. Bring your friends and family out for a great dinner and sit outside on our beautiful patio, or sit inside and enjoy your meal by the fireplace. So come in and join us and enjoy the best barbecue in the area only at Big B Barbecue, located on Highway 22 West in Alex City.
Happy fall, y'all! It's Pumpkin Palooza time here at Gorey's Furniture. Make a purchase, pick a pumpkin, win a prize.
Every pumpkin has a number, and every number is a winner.
Discounts include free delivery, 10, 20, and up to 40% off, and that's only at Gorey's Furniture.
Happy Halloween from Gorey's Furniture.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with a service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Bice. Bice Motors.
Welcome back, everyone, to Sports Blitz Live, hour number 2 here. Get your calls in, 256-234-6221, or your comments. If you'd like to comment away, slide over and talk some Auburn. Not a pretty game Saturday against LSU, 48-18. Didn't expect that. Didn't expect a win, but didn't expect 30 points. And you heard Coach Freeze in the press conference. He said it's on them. It's on everybody. The effort wasn't there. He said that lies in his lap. Auburn just didn't look interested. It looked like right out of the gate, this was a team that
well, I mean, I think
kind of was overwhelmed out of the gate.
Your whole first drive looked like you weren't prepared. I mean, you
had a week off.
Yeah, you had to know that crowd noise was coming, and you snap a ball off the side of the quarterback and goes carrying over there to the sideline somewhere. You don't make those mistakes.
Well, you're also trying to go up there and make an audible in Tiger Stadium on the first drive.
Right.
I mean, isn't the first drive usually scripted?
Oh, most of the time it is.
Right.
Most of these guys know what they're – that's why you watch film. You know what you're going to see coming into that ball game.
I think that was the most disappointing thing overall for everybody that's an Auburn fan is I know this team's not very good. Let's just be honest about it.
Oh, yeah.
But you can not be good but still be prepared.
Oh,
and I think James called in today on Auburn Blitz and talked to us and said, I don't think anybody was expecting Auburn to go down and win, but to get boat raced was not in the cards. I mean, this was a team last year at Jordan-Hare Stadium, we were up 17-0 on. Now we blew it. And again, goes back to my conspiracy with Brian Harsin of tanking games. I mean, you almost had to try to lose.
Right.
You were dominating that game so much, and Auburn found a way to do it. But not a lot of difference in the teams. I mean, there was a lot of turnover for Auburn, but LSU's defense was better last year. They're not good this year. No. So I at least said, well, okay, Auburn's offense is struggling. What better medicine than LSU's defense? We can go down there and at least score 30 points and maybe make it a game. Scored 18 points, Jim, against the worst defense in the league.
The thing that they got better at that I saw LSU did is that Harold Perkins kid that's Mr. All-American.
Of course. We do each other against Auburn.
They always slanted him to the strong side of our play.
Right.
And he was blowing receivers up and knocking screens down. And, I mean, he was playing All-American.
He hadn't played that well in any game anywhere all year until, of course, he showed up. Yeah, he showed up. We figured he would. Jaden Daniels was Jaden Daniels, 20 of 27. 325 yards, 3 touchdowns, a pick, and then he had 11 carries for 93 yards. I mean, if he's not a legit Heisman candidate, I don't know who is. He's completing 70% of his passes.
Yeah, I think I had saved it because I wanted to say something about it. The top 10, there's top 11 passers in the country. He's number 3 right now with 2,294
Is Michael Penix and Bo Nix ahead of him?
No, Bo's actually 11.
Okay, Bo's way down there.
Yeah. Now I'm going to throw one at you.
Who's ahead of him?
You got Shador Sanders, and Michael Penix is.
I knew Michael Penix.
He's 2,300, so he is 7 yards ahead of him. So that's a difference. Carson Beck from Georgia is just right there behind him. Kid from Hawaii. Missouri's quarterback's number 6.
Hey, maybe one of the best in the league.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah, you got, and this is going to be a question for you, see if you can figure this one out. In the top 11 quarterbacks in America right now for yards thrown, Bo Nix is number 11, but there is another former Auburn quarterback sitting at number 9 in the country.
TJ Finley.
Number 9 in the country, 2,000 passing yards.
He couldn't throw for 2,000 yards at Auburn.
Texas State.
In 10 years. Let's kind of talk about that for a second. What is it about quarterbacks at Auburn in the last 20 years, Jim?
I mean,
let's not just talk about Bo Nix, but the last 20 years.
Yeah.
Save Cam Newton, who was a freak of an athlete and maybe a once-in-a-lifetime player, and by a lot of people's polls, either the best quarterback to ever play in college or number 2.
Oh, yeah.
Behind a Tim Tebow or even a Baker Mayfield or somebody like that. But, dude, I mean, TJ Finley was at LSU, and he was terrible. He came to Auburn. We blew him out that year. Of course, he comes and transfers to Auburn.
Right.
And looks like that TJ Finley that we got from LSU. And could not make decisions, was a horrible passer, slow running the football, he transfers to Texas State and is in the top 10 in passing.
Top 10 in passing.
You know, Jim.
14 passing touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 65% complete percentage. He's top 50 in the country in completion percentage.
I mean, it just really blows you.
Now you take that same statistics and implant it into our offense right there this year, and we're a totally different
team. But if T.J. Finley were still at Auburn, he wouldn't have those stats.
No, absolutely not.
That's how bad Auburn's offensive line has been for so long. I mean, we named off Sean White, all the way back to Kyle Frazier.
Yep.
Jarrett Stidham.
Yeah.
Bo Nix. Now T.J. Finley, now Peyton Thorne. What is it about? It's the common denominator is a very mediocre receiving core and a very mediocre offensive line. You said it just a minute ago. You said when you put top players around a guy, they're gonna make plays. You don't have to be perfect.
Right.
They're gonna make plays for you.
Right.
Well, the problem is, and this was talked about before the season started, and Hugh Freeze was on another talk show, and he was talking to me. Auburn hasn't had a 1,000-yard receiver, Jim, since you and I were in school at Auburn. Ronnie Daniels.
Yep. Oh yeah.
What, dude?
Yep.
How long has that been? I mean, you're looking at 22, 23 years ago.
That's right.
And you haven't had –
And Ronnie had to be like 30 years old.
And let's just be honest. Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
And let's be honest about it. A 1,000-yard receiver in this modern era of college football isn't that big a deal anymore.
No.
There are a lot of teams that have a 1,000-yard receiver.
Multiple.
And Auburn can't get 1,000 – that tells you the recruiting at wide receiver – and offensive line have been horrendous.
That's you hit the nail on the head. The last one. That's what you have to point your finger to is give the quarterback time to throw it. Then some of those receivers have.
Because look at the guys that you take out. Everybody wants to complain. Well, Bo Nix is running out of the pocket too fast. T.J. Finley can't make any plays. Peyton Thorne can't hit the broadside of a barn. Well, all of those guys didn't forget how to play.
No.
Okay?
No.
Peyton Thorne did throw 27 touchdowns.
Right.
He did throw for 3,300 yards. He did win 11 games at Michigan State his sophomore year.
Right.
Did he just all of a sudden forget how to play?
Right.
Did he get football amnesia? Did T.J. Finley hit his head when he fell off that scooter when he got run down by the police? I mean, Jarrett Stidham got worse from 17 to 18. Nick Marshall got worse from 13 to 14. Sean White got worse. I mean, the list goes on and on.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle Frazier was Gatorade Player of the Year, 5-star quarterback out of Arkansas, and he looked like he'd never played the position before. I mean, it's a chronic problem.
There is
man.
most definitely something at Auburn about quarterbacks.
And at some point you've got to flip the script. And I think and I'll talk about it when we come back from break, but Hugh Freeze and Auburn fans, I think, need to check themselves a little bit on this season. It's really insignificant whether Auburn wins 6 or 7 games. Let's be honest. You want to win them all.
Right.
You go on the field. You don't ever go out there and go, well, if we can just play good. The competitiveness in you goes, we want to win a game.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter that our roster's much less than the teams we're playing, but you got to be realistic. We've got to get the players to compete. We've got to get back to that level. So I'm not saying that Hugh Freeze isn't worried about the results of this year because he obviously cares. You got to be competitive. But winning 6 or 7 or even 8 games this year is not where his mind is. Finishing 6, 7, or 8 in recruiting is where his mind is.
Right.
Because that means Auburn's getting the players that they need to get themselves back to the top of the division, to have a chance to compete for championship, to have a chance to compete against Georgia, to have a chance to compete against Alabama, to have a chance to compete against LSU.
Well, and it's what I think I told you off the break. One of the great things of watching the games this year and breaking down the X's and O's of it, he's having to scheme a lot of things for us to get somebody open. You shouldn't have to do that.
And then when he gets open, they don't catch it.
Right. Yeah, he makes
it. I mean, it's the frustrating part of and again, I know this sounds bad, but when you're playing with lesser than players,
yep.
And when I say lesser than, not a cut on them and their particular ability, but maybe it is in this league. You know, I said it today on Auburn Blitz. If you took every kid that's on Auburn's team on offense right now and put their jersey from last year on them, it'd be a smorgasbord of colors out there. You'd have North Texas, you'd have Jackson State, you'd have Western Kentucky, you'd have, you know, the list goes on and on, man. You just because they came over in the transfer portal and put on a navy blue jersey doesn't make them up to par with what you got to play with in the SEC.
No, and there's a reason they were at Western Kentucky and Jackson
Florida
State.
International and Eastern Carolina and these teams.
One especially sticks out to me that's an outlier in that group is Batty. He's an SEC player.
And sometimes, but that just tells you, odds if you get 12 out of the portal,
right,
one possibly can translate.
Right.
One translates into maybe the talent level that you need to be.
But you need, I think where that portal thing works is you need to be transferring across, not up.
Not up.
Right.
Right.
If you go get a Georgia player and bring him over, there's a reason he's at
Georgia. Go get Caleb Burton from Ohio State.
That's right.
And you see him starting to make plays and come off this injury and maybe getting a little bit more confidence.
That's the key to the portal.
But you're expecting Jackson State, North Texas, and Florida International to come in and beat Georgia and Alabama and LSU.
Right. You knew that's the best he could do for right now.
And again, it's not a cut on them. It's not a cut on Hugh Freeze. All he could do was go out and try to get the best out of the portal he could. And I think he did. You know, I think behind Florida State, Auburn was second in portal class. I didn't ever think we'd even have that ranking, a portal class.
Oh, yeah.
But he did go out there and get Avery Jones on the offensive line. He did go out and get Dylan Wade and got some of those guys that really have stepped in and I think are a physical offensive line. But
no, you've definitely upgraded the offensive line. There's no question. Now, but are they a full SEC caliber? No.
And Jason Caldwell said that. I'll never forget him saying it. He said, "Are we better? Yeah. Does that mean that translates into wins? Who knows? At that point, we didn't, and right now." You're 0-3 in the league, and obviously it's not.
So. Let this part sink in. If you don't have those players,
God! Auburn, you don't beat Cal.
Or do you beat? Here's the $1 million question: do you beat Vandy?
Not with last year's roster.
That's what I'm saying. Last year's
roster. Well, I'm talking about
Vandy?
Through 6 games this year.
Right.
You probably got 2 wins, maybe only one. You don't beat Cal with that roster from last year.
No.
You definitely 0-3 in the league.
Right.
And then I think Sanford plays pretty tough there for a while, didn't it?
Yes.
And then who did we start with? UMass?
That's right.
I mean, I think you still beat those 2 teams with last year's roster. You don't beat Cal on the road.
No.
Not with last year's roster.
So you're looking at
2-4.
Yeah.
And you're looking at definitely no more wins outside of New Mexico.
That's right.
From last year.
Yeah. So he did make us an upgrade.
So if we go from 3 wins last year to 6 this year, he did make an upgrade.
That's correct.
So you got to look at it from that perspective. So up against another break. Stay tuned. More Sports Blitz Live right after this.
Life is a sequence of little successes. The story of my Southern Union success began the day I walked on campus, making new friends, mastering a new skill, reaching a personal goal, the encore performance, the first date, the internship, and now, soon, the dream job. That's the story of my Southern Union success. Register for classes and get ready to watch your Southern Union story come to life.
Sometimes the word tradition is thrown out there too lightly. But when JR's Sports Bar and Grill is celebrating 25 years of Lake Martin's favorite place for wings, chicken fingers, good drinks, and good hometown folks, well, you know it's a true celebration. All of October, come celebrate with us for 25 awesome years. Chris and Audra are so thankful for each and every customer that's become part of JR's family. Come all month long, see our remodeling on the inside, and stay tuned for our October celebration event coming soon. JR's, a true 25-year tradition for the Lake Martin area.
If you're looking for something to do in the Lake Martin area, you have to go to Liquor by the Lake. Liquor by the Lake is not only the best place to pick up your hard-to-find liquors and craft beers, there's a bar. An awesome bar serving up specialty cocktails and martinis. And the best bushwhacker and creamsicle drinks at Lake Martin. Make plans to come out for happy hour Fridays from 7 to 9 with half-price beer and cocktails. And there's live entertainment on Thursdays. You can even watch the Alabama and Auburn games and Sunday and Monday night football. Liquor by the Lake, located on Highway 49 in the Big Fish Complex near Stillwaters. Open at 1 every day but closed on Wednesday. Come see us.
They say we live in an age of big data. where computers and fancy algorithms are supposed to know you best. But at Country Financial, we know helping you own your future requires, well, something much bigger. Contact your local Country Financial representative and start planning for your future with a personal touch.
When you need an automotive hero, you got to call S&S Discount Tire Pros. With locations in Alexander City and Dayville, we are here to serve you today. From quick services like oil changes and tire rotations to in-depth automotive repairs such as suspensions, brakes, and tune-ups, S&S can take care of all your tire needs. You just have to focus on what's important and love the drive. Call S&S Discount Tire Pros today. We are automotive heroes, and we are here to serve you.
Truckloads of fresh new inventory are rolling into Glenn Smith GMC in Opelika. The new full-size GMC Sierra 4x4 crew cabs discounted up to $12,000 off. The popular GMC Terrains up to $5,500 off. And GMC Acadias up to $6,000 off. Plus, no payments till 2024.
Get your best price every day at Glenn Smith GMC on the lot or online at glennsmith.com. Get ready to smile.
Welcome back, everyone, to Sports Blitz Live, presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. Let's go to the phones and pick up our good friend Luke Robinson. Luke usually here in one of these seats on Tuesday, but on the road this week. Luke, thanks for joining us, buddy.
How's it going tonight?
Man, it's good. A lot to talk about. Show flies by this time of year. You look up and it's 8:20, and talked a lot about high school in the first hour. Of course, we're coming down to terms there. Three games really left for most teams. Only a couple of regional games left, and we'll know how this playoff race shapes up. And, we always follow recruiting, and there's some really spectacular players that we're following. I'll just name a few real quick before we dive into Alabama. Jalen Mbakwe at Clay Chalkville, Ryan Williams, KJ Lacey, Malcolm Simmons. Just some of the few that we've all seen up close and personal the last few years, Luke. And you're going to see a lot of those players make deep runs in the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I think a lot of people are hoping for a Clay Chalkville Saraland state championship game. That would be pretty crazy. And, frankly, I think Saraland's the best team in the state regardless of classification. Now, Central Phoenix City may have something to say about that, I'm sure. But Saraland is just absolutely loaded. I mean, when you've got a quarterback headed to Texas, a wide receiver who many think is the best wide receiver in the country regardless of classification or regardless of year, and then you've got another defensive lineman that's also committed to Alabama. I mean, and they've got other dudes too. I mean, their running back is really strong. They've got other receivers that are very good. They just are absolutely loaded. Meanwhile, over at Clay Chalkville, of course, they got an offensive lineman that's 6'8", about 350, and moves really well, headed to Oregon, and Jaquan McCoy. And then they've got obviously Jalen Mbakwe, who is probably the fastest player in the state, or if not close to it. And he's playing quarterback, and his passing, isn't fantastic, but he's not really a quarterback. And they just put their best athlete back there. And because of Jalen Mbakwe, Clay Chalkville, a 6A school, did beat Thompson, a 7A school that's a 4-time defending state champ. So that's the one I think everybody's looking forward to. Of course, last year Mountain Brook ruined that party. And they may have something to say about it again. Cole Gamble, a running back for Mountain Brook, has been absolutely incredible this year. He almost single-handedly helped Mountain Brook defeat Parker this past week, even though Parker got the win.
Yeah.
There's a lot to look forward to.
DJ Barber on that Clay Chalkville team, too, anchors that defense, committed to Auburn.
Yeah.
So you got just talent on both sides of the ball for both teams. And I definitely think it's both of theirs to lose. Now, last year, Drew Gilmer is a good friend of mine, the coach at Clay Chalkville. They were disappointed. They lost in that first round to Parker. And Parker got a player back that had not really played all year and really kind of shut them down, and they were disappointed. Clay Chalkville was the defending state champs in 6A. So, I know they're hungry. That win over Thompson was really, really impressive. And like you said, Luke, it was his philosophy to put Jalen Mbakwe at quarterback because you can't get a kid like him the football enough. And every time he touches the football, your chance of scoring goes way up. And I'll kind of segue into Malcolm Simmons for Benjamin Russell. You've seen the last 3 weeks that this coaching staff is getting Malcolm Simmons the football more and more. Every time he touches the football, he's a threat to score. He had 3 touchdowns in the first half against Pelham this past week. I think he's a 3 to 4 touchdown a night guy, no matter who they're playing. But for him to score, they got to give him 15 to 20 touches a game at minimum. I think you're going to see that happen more and more. They're using him in the Wildcat. They're using him in motion. They're using him in the running back's position, and they're also putting him at wide receiver. You saw him a couple of weeks ago up close and personal. He's a game changer.
He definitely is. He's got a lot of good moves. He's shifty. He's fast. Got good hands. And he's a competitor. And I think, it tells you a little bit about this season. I think I thought he would certainly be in the Alabama-Mississippi All-Star game, but he's going to be playing in the North-South game, which is certainly not a consolation prize. It's still a big deal. But I thought he would probably end up being on the Alabama-Mississippi All-Star team. But, Alabama's just got a bunch of great wide receivers this year, it seems like. So, unfortunately for him, he won't be making that game. But, you could certainly put him on there. Even if you didn't put him as a receiver, I think you could put him as a return guy. But regardless, I think he's a very talented kid. And, he was a lot of fun to watch against Chilton County. Yeah,
I will say this, and not a cut on being named to the North-South roster, but Malcolm is the first guy. He's the first reserve for Alabama, Mississippi. So, and Luke, you and I see guys that opt out or don't play in this game for whatever reason or maybe get injured. So I think Malcolm still has a chance to make that Alabama roster for Alabama, Mississippi. We'll just have to wait and see. But nevertheless, whether he does it or not, he'll be able to play in the North-South game if he's not. And he is a spectacular receiver. But you said it, Perry Thompson, Bryce Kane, Jalen Mbakwe, just a loaded year talent-wise here in this state. And the state of Alabama continues to put out great talent year in and year out.
I saw something the other day about NFL players per capita and then also number of ESPN 300 players by state. And Alabama was up there like in the top 6, I think. And, in the per capita, of course, Alabama blows that out of the water, along with Mississippi, oddly. And, but it's funny because Mississippi, it feels like they don't have quite as many 5-stars on an annual basis as Alabama does. But, in the end, those guys end up being great NFL players. And I think this state is just they're cranking out so much talent right now. And, look, you can see it. All you got to do is turn on the TV tonight. South Alabama was waxing Southern Mississippi. And they've got a kid named LaDamian Webb, who we all know very well from Beauregard, one of the best running backs this state's seen in a while. And, he had to get himself together a little bit, but now that he has, he is running through Southern Miss tonight like a hot knife through butter. And it's been sort of fun to watch. And, South Alabama's a program kind of like, UAB. And I mean, they may have surpassed UAB by now, frankly.
Yeah, it's amazing. I know Jim and I are sitting here talking about this for most of the show. And you look at we didn't get a chance to really talk about the Troys, the South Alabamas, the Jacksonville States, but you just think top to bottom how good a football we have in this state. And you bring that up. Southern Miss, and I know Southern Miss has deteriorated. They're not near the program they used to be. But at South Alabama, Troy, Jacksonville State, UAB, I mean, these are teams every year, Luke, that are winning anywhere from 6 to 9 games a year. And they're doing it in a state with Alabama and Auburn. It's really amazing when you think about it.
Yeah, and South Alabama's had some very nice wins lately, and I think this win tonight over Southern Miss, assuming they close it out, which they were up big last I saw. It's just a testament, because Southern Miss is a team that, they've had their moments in the sun too. They aren't exactly in high cotton right now, but they have had their moments in the past. Any school that had Brett Favre quarterback for it got to be pretty good, and South Alabama's just taking them to the woodshed right now. And I'm telling you, this program is certainly on the rise. And, if they could corral some of the Mobile talent that Alabama and Auburn, don't go after necessarily, or maybe they're on the cusp of going after, but they get some other guy from somewhere else that they like a little bit more. If South Alabama can keep some of those guys home and convince them, I watched some of the 30 for 30 on Phi Slamma Jamma in Houston. It's such an interesting story about how the coach focused on, he's like, look, I just want to keep the guys in Houston here. If I can do that, we'll be fine. And that's exactly what he did. He just sort of said, I'm just going to focus on Houston, and that's it. And if the coaches that be down at South Alabama, they focus on Mobile, they'll be pretty good.
No doubt about it. There's a lot of talent. Luke, before I let you go, I want you to give a take. Alabama got a big game against Tennessee coming up this Saturday in Tuscaloosa at 2:30. Tennessee finally broke the streak last year. It was a crazy ending to that game. Alabama's an odd team based on what we're used to seeing Alabama the last 12 to 14 years. They're still undefeated in the league. They have that one loss to Texas, which is nothing to be ashamed about. But, you just watch Alabama on Saturday, and there's just something missing. They just don't seem to click like most Nick Saban teams have. They still got a talented roster, but the execution level just hasn't been there offensively to this point. Now, they're finding ways to win games. Defensively, Alabama's as solid, I think, as they may have been the last 10 years, maybe not as solid as some years past, but still good enough to win the league defensively. But there are definitely some issues, and I think everybody knew coming into the season, the insecurities at quarterback are starting to show or have been showing their head throughout the season. And I think you and I talked about it last time we talked. Jalen Milroe is who he is. He's going to make mistakes. You got to figure out a way to get through them. But Alabama's going to be in close ball games. I think that's just the way it is this year.
It is, and Tennessee's going to be a struggle. It's not going to, frankly, I think if this Alabama team had the mindset of some of the Alabama teams of the past, this would probably end up being a blowout. But this is going to be a very interesting game. Frankly, I think Jalen Milroe and Joe Milton have a good bit in common. That if you look at their stats, they're pretty close. And Milroe actually has a lot more passing yards. But the touchdowns are close. The interceptions are close. The biggest difference in the two is sacks, where Milton's only been sacked 8 times and Milroe's been sacked 26. And Milroe has played one fewer game, by the way. So, that's a little frightening. And Tennessee is a very good rushing the passer squad. So they're going to get after Milroe. They're going to get their sacks. I wouldn't be surprised if they get 5 sacks this weekend. That's about what Alabama's giving up every game. But, you got to give Milroe credit. I think Milroe's one of those guys that I think everybody wants to love, and they just can't commit because he'll have a really bad play, and it's not. Sometimes it may be boneheaded. Sometimes it may just be he just missed a guy. But then if you watch the Arkansas game, you got to love the fact that even though he's had his struggles, the coaches trusted him enough to make a pass late in the game when Alabama's driving, and he made a really nice pass to Amari Knobloch. It ended up getting Alabama the first down and basically sealed the game. So, I think the coaches are trying to give him that confidence. They want to say, we're going to put our faith in you. You just got to go do it. And I think the more you do that, maybe the more it'll click for him. He did actually throw a ball out of bounds this past weekend, which a lot of people have been clamoring for. So, instead of taking the sack. So he's getting better. I think his ceiling is getting higher and his floor is remaining the same. So if he can continue on this uptick, he's not getting better at the pace a lot of people want him to get better, but he's definitely getting better. And, in this league this year, Jaden Daniels is a very good quarterback. But other than that, I mean, there's a lot of hit or miss quarterbacks out there. And Jalen Milroe's probably, you know, in the upper tier of SEC quarterbacks, which tells you a little bit about where this league is. So it's going to be fun to see if he can continue to develop. He's going to have certainly an opportunity this weekend because Tennessee's going to bring the house. So Alabama's going to be able to make some deep shots if they just give them an extra second.
All right, finally, some surprise teams in the SEC. Number one, Missouri. Missouri's a play or two away from being undefeated. They really took it to Kentucky on the road. I know they've still got a couple of tough games left ahead of them, but, you know, you got to tip your hat to Eli Drinkwitz. I think Cook is one of the better quarterbacks in the league. I think Missouri still has to play Georgia. Brock Bowers is out. There's still a lot of drama left in the SEC on both sides, both the West and the East. There's a lot still left to play for several teams.
Yeah, some things are going to be cleared up probably after the first weekend in November. That's going to be a great weekend. I suspect that'll be Missouri at Georgia will be the SEC game, CBS 2:30 game, and then Alabama LSU will be the 7 o'clock game is what I suspect. And both of those will probably decide, you know, who represents the East and the West. Now, I mean, you're right. Missouri should be undefeated. But, you know, if I'm Missouri, and this may sound a little crazy, of course you always want to be undefeated. But in a way, I think it's good that they got this loss behind them because I think going into Georgia with the enormity of the moment, being undefeated, that may be too much for them. But, you know, now they sort of go in there loosey-goosey. Everybody's like they're not supposed to win. And they catch Georgia right after the Florida game without Brock Bowers. You know, look, I'm not calling for the upset. Georgia's still going to be a double-digit favorite, but I don't think it's crazy to think they can win it. And Luther Burden, I mean, shoot, he may be the best wide receiver in the league as a freshman. I mean, I think he's actually a sophomore, but he's fantastic. I mean, he's just awesome. And so I think that Missouri certainly will have a chance in that game. And yeah, that you know, all of a sudden, Georgia's still got a cupcake schedule. But all of a sudden, you look at Georgia's back half of their schedule where they have to play Florida after this bye week. Of course, Florida has a bye week too. But they play Florida, and that game all of a sudden looks a little different at least, with Florida getting the win at South Carolina and their quarterback finally getting going in Graham Mertz. Then they play Missouri at home. Then they've got Tennessee and Georgia Tech. I mean, look.
It's not easy.
It's not murderer's row, but it's certainly not a lot of cupcakes.
It's a lot tougher than I think it looked at the beginning of the year. But, Luke, we appreciate it, brother. Safe travels to you, and we'll catch up with you this weekend.
All right, buddy. See you.
Thanks so much. That's Luke Robinson with our group, Jim, and a lot of input on things around the SEC. We'll take a break. We come back. You and I will break some of these games down coming up this weekend. Some really good games on tap. I think, like Luke said, you're going to see some things play out here in the next couple of weeks on some of these games.
Oh, no question.
So we'll take a break. Stay tuned. More Sports Blitz Live right after this.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area a team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Bice Motors.
Heritage South Credit Union in Alexander City is your community credit union, and they have been for over 80 years. Heritage South Credit Union proudly serves Tallapoosa, Coosa, Lee, Chambers, Randolph, and Chilton counties. From checking to business accounts, to share savings to club accounts, to their kids club and investments. Visit them online at myhscu.com. Heritage South Credit Union, your community credit union for 80 years. Federally insured by NCUA.
Planting season is here, and the Potting Shed Garden Center is happy to give you professional landscaping advice when it comes to planting your shrubs and trees. Auburn's best kept secret will have it all this fall. Mums, pansies, pumpkins, and much more. All an array of colors and sizes, along with beautiful pots and containers, indoor plants, and a great selection of other gardening gifts. It's all at the Potting Shed Garden Shop, where natural elements reign supreme. Located on the corner of Moore's Mill and Society Hill Road in Auburn.
Have you stopped by Lifesavers Mission Thrift Store lately? If you haven't, you should. You'll find great pieces for your favorite do-it-yourself project. Lightly used name brand clothing by Free People, North Face, Matilda Jane, Patagonia, and a whole lot more. And while you're there, don't miss the shoes, decorative pieces, classic and new books, and Auburn and Alabama gear that won't cost you a fortune. So stop and shop at Lifesavers Mission Thrift Store today for a unique thrift experience that won't break the budget. Lifesavers Mission Thrift, located on East University behind Zaxby's.
Lake Area Realty specializes in Lake Martin real estate. They can help simplify your next real estate purchase or sell and have helped many home buyers and sellers through the area buy and sell real estate with precision. Lake Area Realty utilizes powerful marketing tools and knowledge of the lake to help you with your next move. Call your local hometown agency today. Lake Area Realty at 256-825-4800. That's 256-825-4800. Lake Area Realty, helping you find your way home.
Hi, this is Andrew McGreer at Dunning Roofing. At Dunning Roofing, we specialize in high-quality, premium roofs. We don't build roofs that just meet code requirements. We build quality roofs with premium materials that significantly exceed our competitors' warranties. We put money on your roof, not in our pockets. If you're looking for a top-quality roof, call Dunning Roofing today for your free quote at 256-307-7601 or visit us at DunningRoofingAL.com for more information.
Welcome back, everyone, to Sports Blitz Live. A couple segments left. In the category of nobody cares anymore, Major League Baseball playoff, Braves out of it. So you got Rangers, Astros, D-backs, and Phillies, and I really could care less. Any of the three outside of the Phillies, I'm good with. I don't like the Phillies and never have liked the Phillies. They knocked the Braves out. So I'm not a Bryce Harper fan. That's all I'll say about the Major League Baseball playoffs. Tony made a comment. He said, going to the Stanhope Pike Road game this Friday. Pike Road has a great quarterback in Cason Myers, already accounted for 1,200 yards passing, and is only a freshman. He said, I could see a future Myers-Trent Seaborn matchup in 7A in a couple of years. If Pike Road goes up to 7A, and there's a chance that they will, could see them match up, man, that would be pretty interesting. They are. Trent Seaborn is a sophomore now, I believe.
Already a state champion.
No, he's a freshman. He played, started there as an 8th grader. Won a state championship. Unbelievable.
7A.
Unbelievable.
Not 1A.
No. All right, we're going to have some predictions at the end of the show. So we're going to go to another segment. We like to have a little bit of fun. James, I'm going to ask you, would you rather, okay? All right, so would you rather work more hours per day but fewer days, or work fewer hours per day but more days? What would you like?
You know, that's the new discussion in the world now. They're talking about wanting to take the new work week to like 30 hours in a week, you know, and not work as many days and work longer days. So maybe you're saying that would I rather have a work Monday through Thursday and take off Friday? Or would I work the same amount of days but fewer hours?
That's right.
I think I'd take fewer hours.
Fewer hours.
Yeah.
Still put in your days.
Yeah.
I mean, because you still got to look, when I was at the college, we had in the summer we worked 10-hour days, Monday through Thursday.
Right.
And then we had Friday off. I didn't like it. I mean, a lot of people go, well, what's wrong with you? We have Friday off in the summer. If I'm working, I want to work. You know, and those 10-hour days get long, man.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they do.
Well, and there's a lot of studies out there that show that productivity, after so long and so many hours
it goes away.
you burn out.
That's right.
Yeah.
So I kind of like just staying with what you got. All right, would you rather keep your current first name or change it?
No, I think I'd be all right. It's not bad.
mean, fits you.
Yeah.
You've had it for a while.
Yeah.
Why change it? So, I think I'll keep mine too. Would you rather listen to classical music or music from today?
That's an Andy question there. I would definitely not like.
You're not listening to classical music. That's just no chance. If I get in the truck with you and Beethoven's on, I know something's wrong.
You know Andy's been in there.
Yeah, I know something's wrong. Would you rather be Batman or Spider-Man?
Oh my Jesus! Probably, I think it's pretty cool that you could shoot spider webs out your hand at people. So
I grew up a big Spider-Man fan. When I was little, did you ever watch The Electric Company?
Oh, yeah.
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, I mean, Batman's cool, but, there's just something about Spider-Man.
It's cool car and all that stuff.
Yeah, Spider-Man for me, too. Yeah. Would you rather be stuck on a broken ski lift or in a broken elevator? I had no doubt what I'd rather take here.
Elevator.
You take the elevator?
Absolutely.
I'm taking the ski lift. I got to be in the open, man. I don't want to be trapped in the daggum elevator.
I think you got to look at that in both ways, because if you stuck, 50 foot in the air, that's a little bit of a situation.
Yeah, it is.
At least with the elevator, you're stuck on the ground somewhere.
Well, maybe not. Maybe you stuck 30, 40 floors up and the cable breaks.
Well, no, that's a different ballgame. I still think I'd rather be in the box than in the middle of the air.
Yeah, I mean, either way, it's not real.
No.
I guess if you had to pick, that's not a good situation. For your birthday, would you rather receive cash or gifts?
Well, that's the age-old question. The cash is probably what you want because you get to go pick what you want.
Does anybody take cash?
Right. But giving gifts, that shows you that somebody put a little effort into giving you something.
Right.
So I think I'd rather have the gift because you put a little effort.
Yeah, you didn't just hand somebody a gift card.
Right.
Here's your $100 gift card to Walmart. Or
I'd love somebody to say, "Here's your win that Auburn beat Ole Miss."
Maybe can you get a gift card for that?
Yeah.
See if you can call that one in. Would you rather go to a movie or to dinner alone?
Ooh.
Movie alone or dinner alone?
Yeah. Gosh. I think the movie.
I mean, it's dark. Nobody knows.
Nobody knows you're there by yourself. Sit in there and eat your Reese's and call it a day.
That's it. I think I'm going to go with that, too. Would you rather always say everything on your mind or never speak again?
I'd probably say never speak again.
Never speak is probably best, right? What did Thumper say in Bambi? If you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all.
That's right.
And I think both of us, if we're saying everything on our mind, there's going to be a lot that's not nice. Would you rather make a phone call or send a text?
Text. Yeah.
I think that's where the world is now.
It's 100%.
If I can eliminate having to actually talk, I know it's bad to say.
Right.
And there's a few people that we all still want to talk to.
Right.
But for the most part, if I'm sending it in a text and get it done, I'm cool.
Well, there's moments in time that you want to have a conversation because you want to hear that person's voice.
Correct.
But if I just want to say, "Hey, Brett, did you just see that stupid play that Thornton did?"
You don't need to call me to tell me that.
Right.
The text works.
Right.
And unfortunately, that seems to be every weekend
a normal text.
So, all right. Would you rather put a stop to war or end world hunger?
Wow. Oh, my Lord.
Andy getting deep on some of this.
I know. Andy, if you're still awake out there, you've put together some good ones.
I'm probably trying to stop world hunger because, there's some of these countries, it doesn't matter. I think they're going to fight anyway. I think trying to give everybody an opportunity not to starve.
Wouldn't those two kind of go together, though? If you stop war, there wouldn't be any hunger. People be working together.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe for a solution.
Yeah.
Well, there's some countries out there that aren't at war, but they're starving.
Well,
so
somebody got to teach them some farming.
Yeah, then they need some help. All right, the last one. Would you rather spend the night in a luxury hotel room or camping surrounded by beautiful scenery?
Depends on what that scenery is.
Yeah, there's multiple definitions to what the beautiful scenery is. So he didn't specify.
No,
that. He kind of left that one
specify.
open-ended. So
yeah, if we're talking about one type of scenery,
are you in a luxury hotel with beautiful scenery?
Right.
Are you in the woods with beautiful scenery?
That's a different ballgame. Well, it's whether you're a country person or a city, I'd rather be outside.
Yeah, I'd rather be in the woods. So.
Yeah.
All right, that'll wrap up that for that segment. When we come back, we'll break down these games coming up on Saturday, some big college football games on tap. Stay tuned. One final segment right after this.
76% of nurses say they went into the profession because they wanted to help patients. No matter the reason you decided to become a nurse, you have all the tools needed to advance your degree at Jacksonville State University. Our Master's in Nursing program is now offered fully online and can be completed in less than 2 years. You can customize a flexible course schedule so you can receive your advanced education degree all while working on the front line. JSU Nursing, your opportunity to advance your career and serve your community.
This fall, nobody beats Martin's Sports Pub for Lake Martin's best sports experience. Martin's all-star lineup of cold beverages and pub fare food can't be beat. With the region's best wings, burgers, and signature dishes. At Martin's, you always have the best seat in the house for all college and NFL on our multiple 360-view TV and huge projection screen with surround sound. See our pigskin scoreboard weekly to win big money and let our all-pro teams serve it all to you at the place we all win. Martin's, Highway 34, Dadeville. Satterfield Outdoor Living is Lake Martin's trusted friend for your outdoor land and leisure needs. We're the region's authorized Skag mower dealer for residential and commercial lawns and offer all the small engine accessories you need with top lines of Steel, Echo, Shindaiwa, Husqvarna, and Metabo products that can tame any landscape. Satterfield is also your grill headquarters with Big Green Egg Grill, and our pros service everything in-house and back up all sales. Get the Satterfield Outdoor difference on Highway 280 right across from Tallapoosa Ford.
At Russell Medical, we're proud of our exceptional nurses, like Nurse Brandy Worthy. Brandy represents the selfless, compassionate clinical leader patients expect and coworkers admire. Brandy was recently honored with the Nightingale Award for Nursing Excellence for her high standards, sound judgment, and caring manner. Her passion for her profession inspires us all.
Being a nurse is not just what you do, it's who you are. I'm proud to be a part of the nursing team at Russell Medical. We are the link between all hospital services, providing you with exceptional, personalized care.
Sometimes the word tradition is thrown out there too lightly. But when JR's Sports Bar and Grill is celebrating 25 years of Lake Martin's favorite place for wings, chicken fingers, good drinks, and good hometown folks, well, you know it's a true celebration. All of October, come celebrate with us for 25 awesome years. Chris and Audra are so thankful for each and every customer that's become part of JR's family. Come all month long, see our remodeling on the inside, and stay tuned for our October celebration event coming soon. JR's, a true 25-year tradition for the Lake Martin area.
Hey, it's Brett Pritchard, and I'm here to tell you all about Sims Foods, who you know better as Wickles Pickles. Wickles Pickles, that 90-year-old recipe, wickedly delicious. Relish, okra, and pickles. From Saturday sandwiches, tailgate snacks, to holiday dinners with your family and friends. From their family to yours, Wickles Pickles, those wickedly delicious pickles.
Wickles Pickles, wickedly delicious pickles.
Welcome back, everyone, to Sports Blitz Live, presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill, Sunshine Heating and Air. I want to remind everybody, JR's 25th anniversary celebration coming up this weekend on the 21st and 22nd. Just want to remind everybody that JR's 25 years here in this community been phenomenal.
Good grief, we're old.
Tell me about it, buddy. I look in the mirror every day, so I know for sure. But good to see. They have a great event planned on Saturday and Sunday. On Saturday, 25% off every menu item all day long, and then on Sunday it's an invitation only event that they're expecting a big crowd there. It will be Ann's birthday. She passed away last year, and again, just one of those that put her heart and soul into that store, meant so much to this community. So it'll be a day of celebration for her as well.
Yeah,
there. So
that's a pretty cool place.
Yeah, it is. JR is special to our community, and done so much for so many people and so many schools around here. All right, predictions, Jim. This coming up Saturday.
All right, well, get your books out, because Brett is fixing to give you his pick so that you know you can make some money. So
go ahead and take a loan out on your house.
Bet your lunch money so you can get it. All right, so Brett, if we're going to go Memphis at UAB, they're giving Memphis 5.5. Who wins it?
Our very own Reed Slayton's going to be at that game.
Wow.
So he just stepped in and told us he's going to that football game. You know, UAB not playing up to, Trent Dilfer ran his mouth a lot this year.
He's a feisty fella.
He kind of getting it taken to him.
So if you had to put your lunch money down,
my lunch money's on Memphis at 5.5. So I think Memphis is just going to win it, and I got to cover. So,
okay.
So Memphis, go with the Memphis Tigers there in that game.
Gotcha. All right, let's go Air Force at Navy, and they're going to go 10.5 to Air Force.
Ooh, man, interesting. Air Force, man, their air attack. I mean, this is a good football team, and they're 6-0 for a reason. I'm going Air Force, and I say they cover too.
Wow.
So I say they beat them we're on a roll here. So we're going with Air Force.
Doubling our lunch money.
That's it.
All right, so now we're going with a tricky Clemson team that is going to Miami, and they're giving 3.5 to Clemson.
You know, Miami is an interesting bunch. They blew that game against Georgia Tech. They came back, had a tough game on the road against North Carolina. I think their backs are against the wall. They're at home. Clemson is not that good on the road. I'm going Miami straight up winning that game.
Wow. Okay. All right. So let's take it on down to the SEC. Mississippi State going to Arkansas,
Jesus.
and they're giving Arkansas 6 points.
How bad are these two teams? I mean, from a record standpoint.
This is the bottom of the West.
If there could be a three-way game, they would need Auburn in there to make it totally bad.
Maybe we call them get around robin.
Just go ahead and get it over. We got to play both of them anyway. Arkansas at home, 11 o'clock. Mississippi State's just not very good. Arkansas did show some fight in that Alabama game. They do have K.J. Jefferson. I'm going Arkansas, and I say they cover.
Okay. Gotcha. All right, so now we're going to go down to, the big one of the weekend.
Big football
Penn
game.
State, Ohio State.
Did you hear about the tickets in this
And they're
game?
going to give -4, so they're going to give 4 points to Ohio State. I have not heard what's the cost
Cheapest
of it?
ticket, $450.
$450.
Yeah, on StubHub. So, and that's in the nosebleed, in the bad section. So, I'm going Ohio State at home. They're 6-0. Penn State. It's tough to go in the horseshoe and win. This is a good Penn State team. James Franklin, again, just keeps on keeping on at Penn State. But I do like the Buckeyes at home in a close one. Do not cover. Wow. Do not cover. I think it's a field goal or less. But Ohio State does win the football game at home.
South Carolina is going to go to Missouri, and they're giving Missouri.
Bad news for South Carolina. They continue to show everybody why they're South Carolina. Missouri, that train's rolling. It's not going to stop when South Carolina comes to their stadium. Missouri improves 7-1 on the season. They definitely cover. They're favored by 7. I say they beat South Carolina by 14 or 17 points.
Okay. All right, so we're going to go Utah at USC. Utah being number 14 in the country, USC 18. They're giving USC 7 at home.
I'm going to tell you something. USC is been exposed a little bit. Caleb Williams played bad on the road against Notre Dame. The week before, Arizona took them to 3 overtimes, but they will be back in the Coliseum. Utah's a good football team, but I think USC tries to keep their playoff hopes alive. They know they've got their backs against the wall now. I'm going to go with USC in a very, very close one. I don't think they cover. I think USC wins the football game, but I don't think they cover the point spread.
Wow. Okay. Let's go Duke at FSU. Duke, they're picking FSU by 14.
I like that. I think I'd say it may be a push there. I like FSU at home. Again, they're a team that finds a way to win. Keon Coleman's a stud at wide receiver.
Oh, no doubt.
I like Florida State to improve to 7-0, and I'm kind of on the fence there. I think they win by 2 touchdowns, so that's a push.
Wow. All right. So now we're going to look at a game very important to us. Number 13 in the country, Ole Miss, taking on Auburn at Auburn, and they're giving Ole Miss 6.5.
Auburn's a tough place to play, Jim, at night. It doesn't matter who it is, and Ole Miss has won once in Jordan-Hare Stadium in the last 23 years. So they do have some streaks on the line. Ole Miss is definitely the better team, but they're not good away from home. They struggle away from home, kind of like Auburn. Auburn needs to win an SEC game very badly.
Bad.
I'm going to predict, and here's the homerism in me, I'm going to predict an upset. Here, I'm going to say Auburn wins the game at home because they have to.
Oh, my goodness.
They find a way to run the football, keep it away from Ole Miss. Lane Kiffin likes to make some bonehead decisions. He likes to look at the little book over there and look at his analytics.
That's right.
And it bit him 2 years ago in Auburn. I think it bites him again.
Wow. So you got your orange and blue glasses on. All right, let's go Tennessee at Alabama. They're giving Alabama 9.5.
That's a lot for this Alabama offense that struggles to score against good defenses. And, Tennessee, I don't think they have enough to pull out a win on the road at Bryant-Denny, but I do think it's going to be really nail-biting close. Okay. I think Alabama wins by a field goal.
Wow.
And I think it comes down to the fourth quarter. And I do think Jalen Milroe turns the football over. I do think Joe Milton turns the football over. I think it's going to be a game of back and forth, and I think it's going to be close. And, Jalen Milroe is going to have to play decent to give Alabama a chance to win. And like Luke said, the defensive front for Tennessee is very good. They're going to get after him.
Oh, yeah.
And Alabama's going to have to find a way to run the football some to kind of keep them honest. But I do like Alabama at home at 2:30 against Tennessee, and I'm going to say it's probably a field goal.
Okay, field goal. All right. Well, there you go.
There's your predictions coming up for this weekend. And, again, it's going to be some good football on tap. Jim's been fun tonight. Appreciate you sliding in and being part of the show and doing a lot of shows with us now, either on Auburn Blitz or Sports Blitz Live. We appreciate it, buddy. Been a fun night.
Oh yeah, a lot of fun always,
and a lot of things coming down the pipe with high school and college as the weeks. Man, the season goes by fast, doesn't it?
It doesn't.
When it gets rolling, it goes by fast. So that's going to wrap it up for Sports Blitz Live here. Again, want to remind everybody, 25th anniversary celebration for JR Sports Bar and Grill coming up this weekend. Make sure you stop in. Going to be a big celebration here in Alexander City. For Jim Hardy, I'm Brett Pritchard saying we've enjoyed it. We hope you have. See you next time.
Have you met your local Farmers Insurance agent, Patrick Holina? He proudly serves Tallapoosa County and Alexander City families and businesses and is ready to review your existing policies or provide a no-obligation quote today. Call the Holina Agency at 256-234-0037 or stop in today at 704 Commerce Drive to get smarter about your insurance. Again, that's the Holina Agency, 256-234-0037.
We are farmers. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
Farmers and Merchants Bank of Dadeville is building a foundation of strength and trust in the entire Lake Martin community. With our modern branch in Dadeville and caring, attentive staff, we've established Farmers and Merchants Bank as a reliable friend to your banking needs. Whether it's just a savings or checking account or any commercial, auto, or real estate loan, Farmers has local decision-making to build a relationship with you and your needs. Farmers and Merchants Community Bank. Strength, service, community.